So I'm very fascinated about where you are in your life because I genuinely believe the world is telling you the reverse of the right information. When you're this young, the number one thing you should do is the most high risk behavior of your life. You know, to me, this is exactly when you should go live in Bali for a year. This is exactly when you try to become Beyonce. This is exactly when you do the highest risk. The biggest reason that kids, like people become unhappy is they try to address, they're playing life in reverse. The only things that you could be dealing with are either debt or expectations of your parents. And what your parents and society do is tells you to do the lowest risk maneuver. The number one thing you should be thinking about is the highest risk behavior around the thing that you think is gonna make you the happiest, which is gonna go spitting in the face of everybody from your parents to the school you're in, to your friends and what they thought, and maybe even to yourself an hour ago. Self-awareness is the most important. Without even knowing any of you, I'm sure your love affair with your music skill, craft, has evolved through your life, right? And this is exactly the time where some of you are looking in the mirror and be like, do I even love this shit anymore? Another huge recommendation I would give you is go work literally for free or like minimum wage or as little as possible for the exact human being that you aspire to be. At 23, 24, 25, you should go work for Barry Wang for free, and then at night you should work at Whole Foods on a night shift, and you should live with 8 people, so you only need to make 300 bucks. But everybody does the reverse. They take a job that they don't even like for $3,000 more. I have a lot of empathy for people in debt. I have way less for people not in debt, because then they're letting the machine, parents, society dictate their lives, who they then later resent because they followed their path, not yours. But like getting some bullshit job to like pay off the debt and moonlighting as your passion, it's the reverse. Don't buy a new pair of Supremes or like a new handbag or take a nice trip to Coachella. Otherwise you get stuck and you're just stuck in perpetuity. Or do that, I don't give a fuck, but don't not do what you want to do. Like, do not have your profession. You can either work for somebody that you want to become or try your own shit. You're talking to somebody who's ridiculously happy because he never played in the system. I was a terrible student, even though every immigrant shouldn't have been, right? I worked for my dad's liquor store and built up a family business for my family, so I made no money. I built it for, you know, my narrative is very tricky. A lot of people are like, oh, but your dad, I'm like, I built my dad's business for him and left with nothing at 34. You know, but I was happy. I didn't care that my friends went to Wall Street and got a BMW. I had self-esteem. I didn't need a cool apartment to get girls. I didn't even want to get girls. I was so busy working on what I was passionate about, to be frank. You know, if you're great at something and you're fucking passionate about it, you should have the best life, and people fuck it up. I didn't. I did everything wrong for 13 years, which made me win and stayed happy.
Even though you're studying a field that is related to what you want your career path to be, you're still in classes, and completing those classes takes a lot of effort and time.
Right, they're putting classes that have nothing to do with the future, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That.
My personal point of view on that is to only allocate the amount of time and passion that allows you to get to the next place you need to. What I'm saying is, whatever the lowest grade you can get in that class that allows you to continue and advance is what you should aim for. A lot of people's DNA only makes them strive towards perfection, which eats up an allocation of time that I think you should be deploying on other things. So if you're telling me right now you're self-aware enough to know this fucking accounting class or whatever the fuck you go to is not gonna mean anything to me, you know, there's only a couple variables. One, there's the school's rules of what you need to get to pass and graduate, right? Then the only other variables are your own kind of, you know, self-worth of how you deliver in a class environment. And the only other variable is your parents or anybody else you respect's ambition of your grade point average. Those last two don't mean anything. The first one does, it's the rules. You can't get an F in this or you can't move on. But if you can get a C, I just don't know. I'm saying least amount of resistance against your own self-awareness and passions that allows you to then get, you know, all of a sudden, as you can imagine, when you're getting an hour back a day from studying on some class that's some bullshit, but you know yourself that you can get a C instead of an A, now you have an hour to make Instagram content that may actually lead to the thing that you want to do for a living.
I'll tell you what, my parents are gonna love hearing that.
I'm sure. Listen, I'm recording this so every fucking parent on earth can see it, because if you're a great parent, you want your kid to be happy, not to get a grade point average that you can go brag at the country club. That's, to me, the line in the sand of great parents versus good parents versus bad parents. And I'm thrilled to say that.
So if you're put in a situation where you have to choose between two big opportunities,
you'll never know what the alternative would have been. You pick one and you never, ever, ever even consider to look back, because you have to understand why. I always play this out. Let's say when you go to heaven, they can show you what would have happened, because that's the only way you'd ever see it. What people don't understand is, oh, Basha, you made the wrong call. You should have went to grad school instead of that opportunity, or this company instead of that company. And it was perfect, and you rose like a phoenix, and you were the head of all sound, and everything went great. But then you had to go to Virginia on business, and you got hit by a car and you died at 31. That's life. So, to like look at two ideas and think you can practically make a good decision is laughable. Literally flip a coin. Just pick the one that feels better right that second and make it about you. Because usually what kids struggle with is the decision they want to do versus the decision that they think they're supposed to do based on the other voices. You want to get real happy? Have the conversation that you actually want to have with the 7 people you're closest to. Tell them the truth of how you feel about everything. That will change your life. What you don't know is that even if they are pissed at you and like say, who the fuck do you think you're, no matter how much they shit on you, the level of respect will be real. That's where it's at. And honestly, I'm not telling you to go call your mom and say, go fuck yourself. But I am saying that the transition to the happiest place you can go is if you can be self-fulfilled within yourself, be empathetic for your parents, not mad. You know, a lot of you probably have this. Either your grandparents or parents paid a lot of sacrifices to give you this chance. That's their framework on the world. But you shouldn't be paying the price for that because you're living in a different reality. Doesn't mean you're disrespectful. Some of you don't have debt because your parents paid. Like you should be thankful and empathetic, but you should not live your life for them. Because I'll tell you how it's gonna play out, brother. So you'll be okay for the next 10 years, and then you're gonna have 40 years of resentment and regret and a bad relationship. Parents a lot of times see this content, they get mad at me. But then I talk to them, and I'm like, you may be upset with me now, but email me in 2037. When your kids have no ammo on you to blame you for their unhappiness. I'm always worried about your guys' backgrounds to are you living your life for the machine or for your parents? And not because I want to razz parents, it's because I want you to actually have a good relationship with your parent. I'm just willing to have a little pain from 22 to 28. Guys, the only thing I'm hedging against is regret. That's what you need to be careful of. And that's what most people do. They build a life that leads to regret. Nobody old and about to die talks about what they did. They talk about what they didn't do. And you're in the best spot right now. You're in the best spot you'll ever be. Straight up. This is the time to be most thoughtful. But everybody wants you to figure out your life now. Your parents don't have their lives figured out. This is the time to taste and put yourself in good positions. You could do everything wrong for the next 10 years of your life and be young as fuck. And have unlimited time to do anything you want. Like, yeah. I don't know what to tell you. You could do everything wrong. This is when you need to be ridiculous.